Right, I've got enough dust to craft a mythic, so I decided I'd have a quick um, sort of run through the available mythics that we're missing right now. And just try and see if there's anything that can supplement our deck as it is right now, things we can um, consider. And I think we're reaching a point sort of we've gone through enough games, we've got a bit of a backlog that eventually I'm just going to sort of like copy, make a couple of sort of changes to each one, try them out, with different sets, different um, numbers. We've got quite a few issues. When we run out of cards, we lose. Even though we're control, and if we get into late game and we're top decking, our top deck should be better than our opponents. It's just so important that we have cards all the time in our hands because we need the answers. We're very reactive. We're not the one putting the questions to our opponent until the late game. So we need to keep cycling constantly through our deck to try and find the answers. So to raid the tombs, maybe that's not enough. And Revelation of Shimek, maybe it's just too expensive and it's too far up the scale. So I can't use it. But at the same time, there have been 3, 4, 5 instances where I've had a Maze of Ayatiku come up late game and it's worse than a collar block. It's not doing anything. But then other times it's a bit of a game changer. So, in my last match against Personality, or however he pronounces it, the fact that he was a defender but also had 0 attack meant the Spirit Rider refused to move, which was caused me to win. Although my opponent misplayed, so he only got himself to blame in that respect. That was silly of him. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just gonna sort of create 4 or 5 copies. Each of them, I'm imagining will tackle like different aspects. So one, I'm gonna try and prioritize card draw a little bit more, and then one, I'm gonna focus more on, is this enough splash? Should we splash more orange? Are there answers in orange that we're missing right now? And then at least one more, which will be, right, early game we get run over. There have been games now where we just get absolutely, if they start strong and we start weak, there's just too much disparity, way too much. And we need to figure out some sort of, I really think Peach of Life, but I just don't see how a 4, but I might try a 4 colour deck eventually as well. But just having a look, maybe it's Baba Yaga, maybe it's just that we need to get started earlier. Because all our like our big bombs are 6, 6 and above, 6, 7. But there are legit answers. We could start earlier. Like there are legit. Honestly, Volkov Heavy Armor 1 Overrun is everything we look for in a lot of our later cards, and it's so much quicker that maybe that just takes so much attention from us, right? It just takes so much to get us off the board. It has the overrun. It's difficult to take off, but it also has overruns. You can't just put rubbish in front of it. You've got to answer it. So we're forcing our opponent to use resources. There are cards like that. Maybe I just need to start quicker, and the deck is just slightly too slow. The worst thing that can happen is we go lower, and then we start getting beat by every greedy control deck in the world. Because the whole point is we're supposed to be just the answer, basically. We're the end, always. When it comes to endgame, we should always be the favourite. We're only struggling in the endgame against green-purple and yellow-purple as well, sometimes. So we should consider that in the endgame, that is, of course. Orange sometimes gets an Armageddon Angel, but it sort of feels like, well, almost always, Armageddon Angel comes through, clears the whole board, and then Traitorous Murmur or Armageddon Angel comes down, short stag. Just Armageddon Angel comes down and it's like, so what? Then we put Bella down and it gets stunned. So what? Also, gems, like, there's been at least one occasion when we lost because Bella was just 1 gem too expensive. But she puts in so much work. I think we have to keep her, but we have to work out some way of, we need to decide exactly what our perfect gem set is and try and work out how to ensure we get as balanced a gem set as possible. Also, I'll go through the cards. maybe evaluate how they've done overall. So that's at least 3 different copies away. We're sort of winning, but at the same time, I mean, we're still only gold 8, so we've sort of gone up and then we went down. Now we're nowhere. Like, this isn't. We're making slow progress, and we played some good players today, which is why we sort of went up, sort of went down. But I mean, Arab is a fantastic player, but the deck arguably we lost because I just messed it up big time. Lonk as well, sort of we messed it up. We really messed that up. So we could have done so much better. It's not impressive. Anyway, so let's do this then. Just looking through mythics. See if there's a mythic that we're missing that might be an answer. I wish there was a way of taking out all the ones you own. Is there? I'm only interested in seeing the ones I don't own. But I guess, is it crafting them? Oh, genius. Okay, crafting. Yep, okay, well, learn something new every day. Oh, I'm considering using the dust for Braggy, but it's not for this. It's because my deck, you know, over time, my collection's increased. When I first started, all I had was yellow-green, so I focused everything on yellow-green. But now we've spread out a bit. All I really need for these 2 decks is Braggy, and these are 2 tournament decks of 2 great players who got far in the Heartbreaker tournament. So, you know, getting Braggy just to open it up. Sometimes I can play casual games and just relax playing that. I don't have to always play yellow-green. Sometimes it can, you know, I've played yellow-green for 150 hours. Sometimes I just need a bit of a break. But apart from that, is there anything? No, I mean, in terms of gem cost, we can't, you know, all of these are hard to splash in, aren't they? This gives us an alternative win condition, but it's such a weird win condition, right? You know, it effectively acts as a blocker, and then like a minor divine benediction, a really rubbishy sort of divine benediction that doesn't quite make sense. But if someone balances, then you throw this down. But it doesn't help us with getting rushed down. Like, red aggro isn't going to care if we throw this down and they take damage. Even if they take 6 or 7 damage, they're going to beat us down before we can beat them down. So, Bob seems unorthodox, but I mean, effectively, once you get it down, you get to draw a card. He draws a card for you for 3 mana, which is a great deal, and then he deals damage. So the ability is really nice, and at 8, he can come down, block one thing. You can try and take out something else, even a mini blocker, you know, sort of something in front of your Sapo. Sapo doesn't have overrun. Throw Bob down. Easy peasy. Maybe that'll work. I don't know about this. Just 8 mana for a 5/5 Alpha Strike is terrible. You know, in terms of the upgrades, 8 mana for a 7/5 with overrun is terrible, you know? Yeah, it's just all of these. I actually think, you know, I actually think, I mean, there are different circumstances for them, but 8 mana for a 5/7 with armor 1. It's definitely not going anywhere, but effectively you've got like a 5/8.5, which is, I'm not in love with it, that's for sure. In terms of gems, these are all expensive. These are all a bit too late, and they do things we don't need anyway. So 3/1 Hellions is sort of Scourge of Serpents, but Scourge of Serpents is just that little bit more useful, isn't it? And of course, you know, I don't appreciate that. Hades, I'm considering getting it, but not for yellow-green, just because there are decks like red-orange where Hades is a massive deal. Absolutely gigantic deal. Now this is a misanthropia. This is sort of this is a consideration, is going yellow, green, red just for this, because this means we've got 2 Misanthropias and a Gigantomachia, and it gives us 3 outs in 40 cards instead of just looking for Misanthropias when we get Valks or red aggro. But I mean, 7-ring ritual comes under this, but once it gets to 7-8, we're fine. This is just turn 5 is a key turn for us, because it reaches the point where on turn 5, do we have Misanthropia or not? If we do, the board gets reset, everything starts all over again. We've still got a health deficit a lot of the time because of the damage we've taken up to that point, but because the board's reset and they have to get out units all over again, it's a good deal. And sort of going into red, it would have to be quite a splash, wouldn't it? Because of the 2 gem cost. But it's just, if I'm Valk, all I care about is just drawing into Misanthropia or Gigantomachia. And Misanthropia, unfortunately, is 3 yellow, and Gigantomachia is 2 red, which means, if I to cover the chance of drawing into either, I would have to draw into both. But I mean, Valks love to buff. Like Valkyrie Tough onto Carnhenge is one of their favourite moves, and that makes it 4/4. I mean, so many, like half the Valkyries. I mean, Road Queen itself is a 3/4, and it buffs all the others by +1, making them all 4 or more health, unless they've been fighting. But even then, you've cut their knees off. If you can even just get 2 or 3 Valkyries out of the way, the horn goes from you will lose on turn 6 to you will go low health on turn 6. This is one of the biggest reasons. Like it's a fantastic board clear in the style of Misanthropia, but it's better a lot of the time because it banishes. And if we can control it at 5, but 2 red gems is so awkward, but it just gives us another out. So I'm thinking about Gigantomachia. Bellavode is just this crazy, like it doesn't, somehow in a way it really works. Like if we can just get a minion on it, if most Valk players are too smart, they cover the whole board in Valks, they go really wide. So Bellavode isn't going to make a big difference, but all it would take is 1 Valkyrie standing in front of a Meso Libre on turn 4. Well, I mean, if I get a Meso Libre down on 4, and on 5 I put down Bellavode, and I've just got, mazes, pieces here and there, then that could hold back so much. Bellavode could hold back so much. But it's very situational, and of course it's a mythic. But it's, again, like Misanthropia, but it's more situational. It's more awkward because I need units to be on the board. And against Valkyries, that, we're not going to have too many units on the board, so that's really awkward. In terms of orange, this is really good. I sort of like Baba Yaga in terms of what we want to do. Just reasonable attack, really high health, it's hard to get off the board, it will stay on the board, 3, 4, 5 turns, so annoying to get rid of. It's susceptible to Gigantomachia, but people don't do Gigantomachia for this. And of course, Gigantomachia into Horn, that would be everything coming together. And if another deck has everything come together and you don't, sometimes there's nothing you can do. So this weirdly, but I might want to experiment with Baba Yaga and Desertification Engine. Has just these 2 annoying 3-drops. Our 3-drops right now are Meso Libre, but this is. But I'm not sure. It's not as relevant late game as Meso Libre. Meso Libre is in the deck because it's so useful all the time throughout the game, stunning something. They put something big down. Meso Libre. Wow. But it's just such a good value card. We're going to go Benediction, 2 sets of Divine Benediction. We should seriously think about Desertification Engine, and since we've got To Heaven and back as well, that's a 4 set. 4, so 10% of the deck is orange. Proxy is weird. If we got to go first against a Valk deck and they had Horn, then Proxy could suddenly just... wow. I mean, just in one go. They'd have to hold on to Horn. There's no way. Like, how are you going to take out the 4-9? You know, on the 6. It would get in the way of so much. A ridiculous amount. That's really nice. I think we're missing too much purple to really do anything here. And it's expensive. Corrupt Prayer-Well, but not for this deck. There are decks where I could see it being amazing, but not this deck. Defy Death also could be amazing. There's not too much. You know, these could get in the way of 1 or 2 things, but not everything. But the whole thing about purple is if we splash into purple and we've got the riders, then of course she keeps getting the riders back. But the riders themselves are going to keep things contained, you know, just picking off pieces here and there. We have no rush minions, so that would be extremely useful. Also for Bald Mountain in a desperate pinch, getting a Shadow Rider on a Bald Mountain. I think purple's one of the directions I want to go most with the deck, and I think Nine-Tailed Vixen. I asked on Discord, and I think Nine-Tailed Vixen would be great. 2 purple is really awkward, but it's just in general, how much would a purple splash improve our early game if we have Riders in Shadow, Nine-Tailed Vixen? You know, it would just weaken other decks just enough for us to hang in there until Wonder Drug can do what it's supposed to do. But many falls can do what it's supposed to do. And of course Peach of Life as well. So Nine-Tailed Vixen, 2 Peach of Life, and 4 Riders of Shadow, for example, would be, well, I mean 5 out of 40, so it would be 1/8 of the deck. But that's not too bad, is it? I mean, as splashes go, that's a little bit heavy. And she does take 2 purple, but yeah, purple's definitely a direction I want to consider. I think we should experiment. Maybe I'll get Nine-Tailed Vixen, because I think a yellow-green with a splash of purple might be better than yellow-green with a splash of orange. Abomination is pretty amazing at finishing games. I'm not sure to what degree we need him. Sometimes it feels like the whole deck revolves around Abomination. Sometimes it feels like he's not so great. All of these are a bit... This is actually hilarious, right? Like, this is genuinely, like, this would stop Valkyries. That's the crazy thing. This would stop Valkyries. This would stop red aggro. It's just... I would need to create a more defensive deck so I could finish on my terms. But, you know, of course, Meso is beneath it. Everything early game. I mean, Maze of Iatiku doesn't care. If we use this as a deck tech just against certain matchups, it feels so weird to have it in the deck. But if we're suddenly in massive trouble and we put down this, there are situations where it's like, well, what on earth are they supposed to do? Like, Wings of Abaddon can't do anything. Nothing can do anything. Even because it's 4 or greater, so they'd have to be 3. It would take 2 hits, unless it was deadly. And, you know, Valkyrie and red aggro aren't going to have deadly. So they would have to swing so much into this to get it off the board. And, you know, using Gigantomachia on it, is that even... If they use Gigantomachia on this, then that just releases the floodgates for all of our big beasts. coming in on 5, 6, 7. So this is definitely an interesting direction that maybe I could try. I will look at. Let's not do that. Let's just look at purple and try and work out. You know, we would have to skip all of this. I think perfect grade is so good, but if you're gonna splash, how? You know, how are you gonna get that? It's just not likely, is it? You'd love it, you know, like some of the most fantastic cards are just. Master of Shadows coming down on 5. Valkyries don't have a way of getting rid of a Master of Shadows. It would get in the way, it would seriously get in the way. I've considered Pentacles for a while, but it requires a lot, and we don't have Agile or anything, so we can't really use it very well. And the 2, I don't think it really gets in the way of the things that we're worried about. So to some degree, we're just looking at how much of some of this stuff we have. Eidolon, but you know, I mean, it's against Impel, it's a load of rubbish. That's no good. I've been considering, but you know, 2 gems at 2. This is a splash, so we can't do that. And I only have 1 copy of Peach of Life. It's a big deal, though. Oh, I've only got 2 races in Shadow. I should keep track of it, though. Because Racer in Shadow is so useful, and Jaded Courtier as well, just to keep our health at a good level. So nice. That Jaded Courtier, well, maybe that's not even necessary, but just Racer in Shadow would work, wouldn't it? Racer in Shadow, Peach of Life. I'd really only want to stretch into Nine-Tailed Vixen at the most, and you'd need to go purple like really early in the game. It's worth thinking about anyway. We don't have a lot though. I'd rather, I mean, I could just use my essence on Peach of Life. I'm buying these last 2 races. They'll come to me naturally, I think, over time. I'll pick them up. Red. See, to some degree, daring Trapezis just to buy us time, pick things off, is really good. Lamia's Kiss would also be another tech for Abomination. Giving it Agile, Life Tap could save us so often. Amazing, right? We could Abomination, Lamia's Kiss. That could do so much for us, like a better overrun that unfortunately doesn't draw a card. But the Life Tap would be worth it on an Abomination. If we were in serious trouble, we could immediately throw something down. Lamia's Kiss would be fine. Anything that stays on the field, Lamia's Kiss. And I think we only need 2 copies as well. Very nice. I'd kind of like to have Trapezis though, if I was going to go into this. Most of this is too aggressive for us. Oak, because it needs 2 gems. And you know, a 4-3, like against true aggro, our Oak of Stone would be a terrible version. Wings of Abaddon is worth, like Gigantomachia, Magmatar. They could all. I think Gigantomachia is the highest we go, though. So, one deck that tries purple, one deck that looks at going Gigantomachia, Wings of Abaddon, maybe Wings of Abaddon. Red Carnival is also a win condition, Red Carnival Volition is, sort of sick, so. Maybe even not Panic Raider, but Lamia's Kiss definitely. We have a lot of big units on the board, and worst comes to the worst, so Leah can always make something big, Even just a Stone Effigy quickly if we desperately need health. That's free health right there. That's all we'd want though, just a small package, maybe 6-7 cards. Yeah, okay. Blue, I really don't. But yeah, it comes in at 4. See what I mean? Like Valkyries. That's not going to be a 3/3 very likely. Rune Singer, it even kills Braggy. Gigantomachia would do a lot. It might be worth getting a red splash just for that. Replacing it with our minor orange splash. But I'm not seeing enough here. This is too aggressive and too dodgy for us. It's not good enough. This isn't enough. Thundercut, I just don't. Just 2 damage against Valkyries. Just isn't enough. I don't like it. Horn will give us a win condition, but like 6. I don't need a win condition at 6. We have our win conditions higher up. We don't need that. Waystone Garden is pretty interesting. But, blue purple, so no. Yeah, there's not enough here. I think we should skip the blue. So orange, we'll probably have an orange as well. This just allows us to trade up really well. It could be really. We don't have any sort of like 1-attack minions though, apart from Kolobok. So Kolobok Conviction could allow Kolobok to get some great trades, really amazing trades. It's also for Abomination to get Abomination to drive through. So, but is it necessary? Really, it's just Dire Benediction that we want. 2 copies of Dire Benediction. End of problem. Aimless oh wow, okay. Now this would stop a lot of things, wouldn't it? This, I mean, obviously, 4/6, 4/4. These Shadavar, like, orange is some great options, especially low. Like, if we wanted to fight early, then do you want to, like, you almost don't want to splash orange, you just want to go orange and forget things. This is too good. Eager Recruit is just swamps the board, just loads of little small minions constantly getting in the way. Buying time. If we went heavy enough, Perry at the Gates could be our Shimek, but with a body, and at 4, that's a massive difference. So 1 cheaper than Shimek. It'd be in our Splash, which is really bad, but we could recur it through Rewind Hex or out the graveyard. We could just bring it back for even more card draw. We can't do with Shimek unless you have Bull Mountain. But Bull Mountain is so difficult to get in. Seal of Exile, if we get desperate, we could have a Seal of Exile in there. But this is starting to get towards the late and I don't need late game, you know. Armageddon Angel would be amazing, but I don't need it, and 3 is too much for a splash. Lavish Proxy, maybe. It's crazy. Armageddon Angel is clearly a better card than Proxy, but in this deck, Angel destroys the things that I want to start putting down. It's lower down mana cost that I really, I'm valuing this. If what we're looking for is effectively the Armageddon Angel effects, but not on Angel, which is why Misanthropia and Gigantomachia are so valuable. Because we struggle early game and we need clears. So, but I mean, orange doesn't clear early, so you have to consider. But we could definitely spread from just this single benediction as a minor tech to something much bigger. Yeah, so 1 orange, 1 purple, 1 red, see what happens. In terms of mythics, let's make our decision, shall we? I still want to put, it's just because I know how good Braggy is. You want to get him, but we don't have enough in blue. We can't take him. Can't take him. He could be amazing. Like this ability, he could be well, no, if he was a 10-10 for 4, that's ridiculous. Of course you take him, but like it's just not synergistic with the actual deck, with anything. Oh, but he could be if there was just more in blue. Give another minion frenzy would be crazy, absolutely amazing. This would be like his bottom effect would be irrelevant. Drawing cards and just getting us what we need. I think Giganto is such. It's got to be Giganto, hasn't it? It's got to be Giganto, and then we'll see if red can give us just a little bit more, so we can fight aggro. We don't need to beat aggro; they can still be dealing damage to us in the early game, but we just need to get to late game. Maybe I think this is the choice, isn't it? This has got to be the choice. Okay, that's the decision. I'm probably not going to record me trying to make decks, but eventually I might have, my variations, make copies. We'll try them out in casual, and maybe try them out in ranked. This is the main one, and we're probably going to continue the series primarily with this, but if things work, then it's an evolution, isn't it? This deck is going to split into 4 or 5 or 6 different variations. We're going to see if there are ways we can tune it and make it more effective, and then we'll just see what happens then. So perfect. What else is there to talk about? I think I've talked about everything really. I don't think I need to discuss anything else. Just those are my thoughts. I'm going to try and make a couple of different decks. I'm also going to have a serious look at the previous videos and make a couple of variations of, it's yellow-green, the orange is a splash, and it's, it could be replaced by anything. I think Benediction's a nice twist, but I also think Lamia's Kiss is a nice twist, is another way of getting around. I also think that Heaven is a very expensive but nice twist. And even, where is it? Hackers, come on. Where are you, hackers? I think Overkill's nice, because I think it's just a cantrip. I think it's amazing. People don't rate it. I think it's amazing. Hacker's Intuition is another way of getting Abomination what he needs. Or just finishing games, 2 is super cheap. We could keep it. We could take out Benediction, put this. It wouldn't allow us to do massive 40 damage in 1 turn, but it would allow Iku sometimes to hold down a minion, have it never attack, and then just attack next to it forever, effectively. Extremely useful. Double Think could be interesting. Because it would get around, no it would not actually. Sapo wouldn't care about this. Forget that, it's not actual combat damage that it takes back to itself. It doesn't hit itself, it just takes magical damage. Right, I've already had a video going through all of this, haven't I? So maybe we start early. There's Plague Maidens variations all over the place. So maybe I should try that as well. We'll see what happens anyway. Gigantomachia. I think that's the right choice. Looking at everything, it's such a strong card. Maybe Misanthropia plus Gigantomachia increases our chances of winning those aggro and Valkyrie decks, which just run us over. Suddenly they get removed super quick. Well, I don't know if Gigantomachia works against aggro very well. But in the very least, it will work against Valkyrie, hopefully.